welcome back to Cardiff City World. This is the Terrace take. I'm your host, Evan James. Joined with me tonight is my lovely comment section. So please do get your comments in. Stay even and say hi because it's only me tonight. We'll see how we go for time. I'm not sure whether this will be a long one or not. But we're here today. For the first time, I think I'm actually reviewing a Wales game instead of a Cardiff game. So that'll be very interesting. So, what do we think, first of all? Again, I know some of you might come late to the live show, but get your comments in on what you thought. I'm just gonna give myself. I'm gonna have a drink a second. I'm gonna think about what I'm gonna say before I say how I thought we played. Because there's two ways I could take this. Okay, because I watched this game today and we won. Okay, we got the 3 points. That's the main thing. Okay. However, I've never been so bored watching us win a game, if that's all right to say. Generally, I think I spent most of my time watching Dylan Lawler play, and I thought he was exceptional. Again, saying that, Cardiff City fan, Cardiff player, but to see him being chucked into the lineup straight away, I was very shocked by it. I did not think that would happen. But obviously, Bellamy saw the way he played, and that's the way he kind of wants to play, is to play that cut and pass through the middle. And I thought that he did that really well. I think when I'm not sure if they put like Ben Cabango on towards the end or something, but like since then, I think he gave away a free kick at the end, but I'm not sure what happened there. I don't even think he made contact with a person. But either way, 1-0 to Wales. I wasn't that convinced of it. I know I looked at the pitch and I thought like, okay, they clearly watered the pitch or something or done something to it because the ball was dragging. You could tell the weight of like the ball and everything. It just seemed different. And yes, it is a long way to go. Kazakhstan like 4 hours ahead in the east, and I'm not saying it's an easy game because of recent years Kazakhstan have become a lot harder to beat. That's not to say that they're winning loads more games. They probably are a little bit, but they're at least even the easier teams nowadays, or what we consider to be easier teams, they're becoming harder to beat because they're just kind of running with this low block and they're having so many men defending and just to frustrate the opposition. And I felt like this game kind of mirrored the Luton game, the Cardiff Luton game in a way, which is that in the first half it was very similar of that we would have much of the ball, but we kind of wouldn't really do much with it. It's like we couldn't fully like open them up properly, and obviously we scored in the first half, and it just looked like a very plain 1-0 win. And again, in the most privileged way, yes, we won a game, right? It's amazing, it's great. However, it doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence, that game, because I feel like that's a game we should have won, at least got 2 clear goals, because at any point they could have equalized. They had that free kick right at the end of the match, the last kick more or less, and hit the bar. They had another chance to hit the bar. I mean, their keeper pulled off a few really good saves, to be fair to them. But there wasn't really many players. Only that one guy, was it Kenzabek, and he only got like a 6.5 match rating, apparently. Excuse me. God, my throat dries up every time that I go live. But yeah, like it was only really him they had, and then their keeper Anabekov. Again, I butchered all these names. I'm looking at FotMob now and the match ratings, and I'm seeing like where are they getting some of these ratings from? I genuinely thought Dylan Lawler was doing a lot better than a 7.4, but a 7.4 rating is good. I don't know what it is, but it's at the moment Brennan Johnson again. I still think I don't know if like he's not buying into the system, or as Craig Bellamy doesn't quite know how to use him, because it seems like for Tottenham he does pretty well. I'm not saying he does poorly for Wales, but he seems to go missing a lot. And I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. And I can see your comments are coming now, so I will go through them. Don't worry. But I'm not sure what it quite is. But like, it just seems like certain players just really don't get the way Bellamy wants to play. And I understand we have to be patient with the kind of build-up. It's quite similar in terms of how Cardiff want to play with Brian Murphy. So in a way, it's really good because there's not much of a difference between the two different styles. And the fact that Dylan Lawler just walks in that squad straight away at 19 years old is absolutely insane. And yeah, it's just honestly, I am jealous, obviously, to think that the kid's like 19 years old and he looks more mature than me. He looks so much more composed and less stressed in his life than I do. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't just him. Let's give credit as well to the centre backs as well. So we went with a back three. I'm going to go through. I might not spend a massive amount of time on each player, but there'll be certain players who I can pick apart a bit and give them the honest rating, because obviously we'd be here forever if we went through everyone. First of all, let's go to the goal scorer, Kiefer Moore. I think he did his job, but I don't know what he's done more of. Either got injured or scored goals, because he's had quite a lot in both departments. I don't know if the injury or the reason he was subbed off was because he was injured or if it was just a precaution. I got a feeling it was maybe a bit of both. It's nice to see Nico Williams back. I think the last match I saw was the Liechtenstein match, I think, and he went off injured that one. So it's nice to see him back. He's probably been back for a while, but obviously we haven't had international football for a bit, which is weird to say. Like I said, Brennan Johnson, didn't do say poorly, but I wouldn't say I was impressed. I don't think he really came into the game much. I thought a crossing today, just in the whole, a crossing was terrible. I think that we put a good few corners in. Apart from that, the crosses were all over hit again. And I've been really harsh, right? Because I know we won, but I don't know. I wasn't convinced. I was really bored watching that match. And to think that, yeah, okay, we win, take the 3 points, fantastic. And now we're top of the table. But it doesn't fill me with confidence thinking of that, okay, well, that's 1-0 against Kazakhstan. In the World Cup, we're going to be playing 0 games at home, unless it was like, in the UK. But it doesn't fill me with confidence. I felt like we kind of they kept their shape really well, Kazakhstan, to be fair. There's very few times, and they were almost devastated on the counter attack. The first half, their counter attacks just it wouldn't work. Their last couple of balls forwards, it would end up behind the player, go for a throw in. They looked like they were really frustrated and everything, and their manager looked the same as well. But in the second half, they seemed to sort of tighten up a bit and tidy up their play a lot more. And if it was the case of it hadn't hit the bar or the post for them, another day that would have been a goal. They could have probably scored 2 against us. In the same way, we probably could have got a second as well. Another player I think so Josh Sheehan, right? He's got a 7.3 rating. I thought he did okay, but again, I don't see what another person like Jordan James, that they couldn't do. And again, it could be just rotating. It could be there's a certain play style that might suit him better that Bellamy thinks. I am not a massive fan of Sheehan. Like, I just, again, this is coming to my bias of the fact that you've got a League One player, a defensive midfielder in the Wales squad, but yet you have 2 Colwells to pick from. I don't know. Again, this is my sort of thing, but again, I'm not Craig Bellamy, so I don't know the best way. Liam Cullen, I think he had a really good chance for a header, and he's unfortunate not to go in. It's a really good save by the keeper. Again, apart from that, I felt like he didn't do much. I didn't feel like we didn't really press as what I thought we would do today. We kind of just sort of sat off them. We had we played, for what I see here, it's a 3-5-1-1. Okay, so basically a 3-5-2, but a slight different way around. And when we were playing out possession, we were basically that 3-5-2. But it wasn't like exciting. We didn't press them past the halfway line, more or less. We just kind of sort of held off them. So I'm not sure what that was about, because every other game we've been so hungry to win the ball back. I just felt like we lost that. I don't know whether it's a tiredness or whether it's a travel. I don't know. It could be a mixture of reasons. It could be the conditions of playing that. I just felt like we were off it. But in a way, let's reframe it in a positive way, because negative Evan at the wheel, as always. That even though we were, let's say, we've had better games, I think that to think that that's one of our worst games and we still come away with a win, it shows that we have got that graft in us. We have got that magic up our sleeves if we need to pull it off. We've got a couple of free kick takers who can actually hit them on target. Not today, obviously, but another day, they would have been. And I thought defensively we were fairly solid. However, there were a couple of moments where I thought, okay, we need to put in some last-ditch tackles, and we did. Like Davis, Lawler, Mepham, they all did that, to be fair. And if I was to give a man of the match, I would probably give it to Lawler, if I'm being honest. Harry Wilson, I thought did really well as well. I just don't think anyone really stood out to me in the attacking third, let's say, that blew me away. But like we had subs came on and Fotmob again. I'm good at everything on Fotmob, which is it's my best friend at this point. But no one who came off the bench achieved more than a 6.2, and that was Mark Harris. So we didn't really have any sort of game changing subs either. So I kind of put it down to just an off game. Maybe it's just because as we just went over to Kazakhstan and played the next day. Could be fatigue. I'm not sure. Darlow apparently got man of the match, so he got an 8.0 star rating. So I'm assuming that means he got a man of the match. And to be fair, he was called into action to play a bigger part than usual. I don't think he's had to have too many tests apart from the game against Belgium. But without me faffing on anymore, let's go to the comment section and see what everyone else says. Okay, so evening to JT. Bellamy needs to drop this 4-1-5 nonsense. It's not a 4-3-3 by playing Cullen and Wilson, who are front four players in a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, he seems to play like Cullen in a more like he's wearing the number 10 shirt and he's playing like the midfield, but it's an odd. It's hard to figure out what kind of formation he's doing because I think in possession and out of possession it changes. I think with Bellamy he kind of plays more less on like a set formation and more like a certain game plan of what he wants to do. So like he might have if he's playing just to win the ball back straight away, then he's probably going to go a 4-2-3-1. But that's not necessarily saying that he will be rigid and stick that. Whereas I thought Kazakhstan were the fluid 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-3 for the whole game, and they just prayed that the counterattacks work. But yeah, JT, I mean, I don't know, like it's different, isn't it? But I'm not really sure. I felt like today something was missing. It's quite a long watch, if I'm being honest. Martin Ryan, I thought they were overrun in midfield second half. They were in the front foot and stopped us playing any control football for long periods. Yeah, I think part of it is due to Kazakhstan being a bit smarter about it. I mean, they played us before, obviously, but I genuinely don't think there's anyone in that Kazakhstan squad apart from maybe that Ken Zabek, if I said that name right. He was the only kind of threat, and he was always like on one of the highlights. I was watching the game go and be like, okay, that's another highlight for him, and we just didn't really stop them. We just kind of held off them a bit, which is not like us. And maybe again that was the game plan, just to defend ourselves. But I felt like we just reverted a bit back to our old kind of Wales FC way. Like it didn't seem like us playing. Again, I keep talking as if we lost it. We did not. I just thought that we could have easily drawn or lost that at the same time. So well done Wales are winning. Like Ryan also says, Johnson looks. I don't know how to say that word. Reticent. Yeah, reticent to take on anybody. Wilson was our only creative attacking player. They got Sorba Thomas early second half and nullified his threat. Yeah, I think Sorba Thomas has been so dangerous like recently since Quick Bellamy's been in charge. His only thing is his end product with mainly his crossing, but even his finishing is decent. But I think they did keep him quiet as well. I think when you keep Sorba Thomas quiet with all that pace he's got and he's a decent dribbler as well, and he's playing championship football now, which is great. He's played for Stoke, and I thought like Kazakhstan, I think they did their job well. They're just unfortunate for things not to go their way. I think a few decisions maybe called wrong with the ref in terms of in our favor actually. I didn't see. Still can't figure out whether the one at the end where they got the free kick. I could have sworn he wasn't even touched, but I am not sure. JT, they overran the midfield because we play one holder and two forwards in the midfield. It's bizarre. Wouldn't work in League One, never mind Championship. Yeah, I think what you're saying is I don't want to put words in your mouth, but at least the way I interpret it as he's trying to play attacking players in the midfield because he wants to create some kind of overload. He sees those kind of players and they get the tactics, so he's just going to try and fit them in wherever. And I'm sure it isn't as careless as that. That's the kind of impression I get because again, apart from that header, like Josh Ian, and is it Josh Ian? Yeah, and Liam Cullen. maybe even even Brennan Johnson at this point. I don't think they deserve that place right now. I think the next game you've got to give to someone else. I think whether the conversation is would Dylan Lawler got chucked straight in if our game was against Belgium, for example. It'd be interesting to see if he trusted him straight away off the bat. I'm not sure, so we'll have to wait and see about that. But Martin Ryan, good header from Cullen for the goal, but he contributed very little outside this. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and again, like I watched an interview with Craig Bellamy recently. I think it's from High Performance. It was literally like a couple of days ago. Might be yesterday. It was uploaded, but he says sometimes about like you might get one chance all game and that will be your chance. But outside of that, even if you don't really touch the ball that much, that might still be enough. Because if you think about it, right, in defense of Liam Cullen, even though he's this one, you could set up the game with the intention of focus on freeing up Sorba Thomas, for example. Okay, so Sorba will be like on the left, just for example, and your whole game plan is around that player, which means that other players on the pitch, you've still got to play a part, obviously. But if you just to walk on the sidelines, if you're on the opposite wing, then the defense are not going to pay much attention to you because they can see you're not in the game. But if you're always, excuse me, if you're always paying attention, if you're always, at least giving the defenders a perception that you're going to attack or that you are involved in the the game plan, then it's constantly making defenders aware about you. But I just kind of felt like certain players, so they just kind of went into hiding and it didn't seem like they were part of the game plan. That's the impression I get. And again, it's like you might just get that one chance, and unfortunately, it is a good save from the keeper. I don't think the commentators were saying, I think, oh, he could have done better to save the second one. I think he was annoyed at his defense and the keeper because I mean, you should just the first instincts when the ball is parried back out is just to clear the ball, and they didn't do that, and Kiefer Moore got to it, and in a way he kind of got an assist in a way because he played a very big part of that. I think if it weren't for him at that point, we probably would have finished 0-0 or 0-1. So yeah, but again, it's like I don't know. Again, players just go missing for me. Um, Wales won't even Wales won't even get group in the World Cup next year. I can tell you're a Wales fan then, obviously. So, yeah. Well, it's nice to even though I'm half English, I'm Wales all the way. But thank you for engaging the channel. I appreciate that, Arthur. Jonathan says, "Fun seeing so many salty Swansea fans after Lawler got picked ahead of Cabango." Well, yeah. To be fair, after Cabango come on, it did kind of like break down just a little bit. Just saying, just saying. They find to be that. It's always been, let's be honest, it's always been Swansea fans and like it's always been Swansea players getting in there, Leeds players, Newcastle players, players that are not Cardiff players. And now that we're finally seeing some Cardiff lads, and Kiefer Moore, you could say, is a former Cardiff lad. Same with a few others. They will get a bit salty about it. But the reality is now we've got. I think I saw a stat the other day saying we've got out of all the different clubs, Cardiff have got the most Welsh internationals right now. So we got 3. Swansea, I think, got 2. So that's Cullen and that's not Sheehan, is it? Who else is it? Cullen and someone else. Sheehan plays at Bolton, doesn't he? I can't remember who the other guy was. Oh, Ollie Cooper, unless he's injured. Might be someone else again. But yeah, so like we have quite a lot of Premier League players now, which is nice to see. Like we have quite a few. We got Davis, Nico Williams, Kiefer Moore was at one point, Carl Darlow, Brennan Johnson. Like we've got some Premier League talent in our squad now, which we never had. We had like Ramsey and Bale, but at the time Bale was at Real Madrid, and Ramsey was for a long period he was at Arsenal, but then he went elsewhere, and fitness and that, yeah. Look, I'm gonna not pull up certain comments because I want to try and keep this as PG as possible. I will put this one. Arthur is here regularly. He's a secret bluebird. Yeah, he's just trying to hide his identity. That's all. Cullen and Cabango. Thank you, Jonathan. Honestly, like I literally just said his name before that. Yeah. So, who would you say would be your man of the match? Because Carl Darlow got it, yes, he pulled lots of good saves, but I don't know. See, 'cause I felt like our match rating was 6.9, so like theirs was 6.6. There wasn't actually a lot in the game, and I don't want to lie here, but I'm generally trying to think of like what else there is to say apart from like I love to say, oh, it's an interesting game, but yeah, I mean, it felt weird it being a 3 p.m. kickoff, if I'm being honest. Um, but yeah, like that's what it is. Where it is. I thought other subs as well. I thought Dan James looked alright. He probably he's probably the fastest player at the club, and he looked like he wanted to actually press and to win the ball back. Because I mean, when you're given a limited amount of time, apart from him, I'm maybe Jordan James and David Brooks when they came on. Apart from them, they didn't seem to like press at all. Um, Ben Cabango, to be fair to him, he only came on at 86 minutes. I'm trying to think who else we didn't have. So people who didn't play today, we have Adam Davis, Tom King, Reece Norton Davis is back after the bad injury, Ronan Capaccio, Cardiff lad, Charlie Crew and Joel Colwell, Cardiff lad, and Lewis Kumas. And I don't really, I don't know what else I would have done. If I maybe okay, so if I was to decide the lineup for this game, obviously in hindsight now because the game's gone, I would have put Darlow in goals. I would have probably gone with the back four. I would have gone Davis and Lawler, and it'd be risky, yeah. And then I'd have Nico Williams, Sorba Thomas, and then the midfield three I'd completely change up. So I'd get rid of Sheehan and Cullen. I would have had. It's gonna be biased. I would have Jordan James in defensive midfield. I'd put Wilson at the number 10 role, and who's a good box to box? Oh well, Jordan James, I suppose. And then I probably would have. I would say Joel Cole. I would have generally played him just for his energy. I feel like you need it, but at the same time, you've got to mind his minutes. But yeah, I would probably have said him. Then the front three, I would have had Kiefer Moore. I mean, obviously he scored anyway. Kiefer Moore. I would have honestly given Lewis Kumas a go, and then put Sorba Thomas on the other wing as well, because at least you can always bring Lewis Kumas off afterwards, and then you've got Dan James to bring on them, which is great to have his pace. And if I'm being honest, Lewis Kumas, when he was first introduced into the Welsh squad, I was surprised he made it in quite soon, and he's such a good dribbler. Honestly, yeah, he does lose the ball sometimes, but so does every winger. If I'm being honest, but he's someone who just when he's on the ball, when he dribbles, it looks so smooth and slick, and he looks really agile and everything. And I'm sure he'd be one for the future anyway to follow in his family's footsteps. But I don't know. I would have maybe gone with a bit more braver side. I felt like the side we got was kind of, it was nice to see Law in there, but I think it was very safe and it wasn't very attacking. Well, it should have been. I think you look at that. I mean, you look at Nico Williams, Sorba Thomas on wing backs, or essentially wide midfielders. You know, you don't look at that team and think we should struggle at all, right? And I look at their team as well. And no disrespect to them, but I don't really see any threats on their team. Their goalkeeper and their attacking midfielder were their best two players. And with that whole squad around them that, seemed to struggle to pass the ball sometimes, it did feel a bit limiting for them and feel like, okay, we should be all right here. And I think if they were a bit more clinical, we would have lost that or drawn it. I think it was Kiefer Moore, another person I think could have got a second goal as well, if I'm right in saying. I thought Mepham was okay. I don't think, again, just playing it safe really, but let's have a look. Martin Ryan says Kazakhstan made a mistake by playing a low block first half. They allowed us to control tempo. Once they started pressing, they got on the front foot and caused a lot of problems. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I beat the gym there. I had a tiring day. But yeah, so what I was saying that is, yeah, I absolutely agree on the second half. I think that we kind of switched and we ended up playing like a low block then because they were pressing us. When I thought it would be even better if we could have, executed a bit more on the counter. We didn't seem because we're more used to playing this possession style football now. It seemed like, we. I don't know. It just seemed like we kind of swapped and we have to stick with the possession even if the counter's on. I feel like we need to know when to put the counter on, when to counter attack, and then when to just play possession and let it build up naturally and, pick them apart. But in the second half, especially when they come up pressing, and we can play through the press, but if we're being honest, I don't think I don't think the players we had on the 11 we had starting, I don't think they were the right midfield option, let's just say. Because if I'm being honest, Harry Wilson's attacking midfielder or even a winger sometimes. And, Cullen is not a midfielder. He's a striker, he's a forward. He's much better up front. But or at least for Swansea is, because he always scores against Cardiff. But yeah, so just before we continue, lads, I'm just going to hand you over to Si, and I'll be back in a sec.
This episode of Cardiff City World is brought to you by Coral, the proud sponsor of the TalkSport Fan Network, here for all kinds of fans. For the armchair experts, whether you're constantly negative, overly positive, or maybe even the instant over-the-top reaction social media guy or girl, for the football fashionistas still clinging to the legendary Terrace fashion of yesteryear, or the best retro gear from Michael Thorne, the nostalgia merchants dreaming of the old lady Ninian Park, or still celebrating Campbell's goal in the Millennium Stadium, whatever kind of fan you are, with Coral's free-to-play reward shaker with a guaranteed daily reward or offer throughout the season, simply shake your phone to win. Over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day, 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. For more information on safer gambling, visit gambleaware.org.
All right, and we are back. I just had that ad break then. I'm just searching up our next fixtures. I believe it's Canada we have as a friendly, unless I'm absolutely mistaken. But I don't know why this is so complicated to sort of look at, really. Oh, we can see the results here. Okay, so we just won that game there. And next, I'm genuinely confused by looking at these fixtures because none of these look like we got Andorra, Japan's like when was this? These are all results. Some in the comments tell me I'm pretty sure it is Canada next, right? If I'm not mistaken. It's like that's just a friendly though, and then we have Belgium after that, possibly in November. Evening, Graham. Nice to know you're listening to the bath as well. I hope I'm doing a good enough job whilst you're relaxing anyway. I'm not bleeding your ears out, so you can have a nice chill in the bath. Thanks for letting us know about that. To bring the ATEX says to bring the likes of bringing on Dan James and Noah Kumas didn't make an appearance tonight. We are in good times. Lawler is way above his time. Reads the game like a 30 cap player class. Yeah, honestly, and I put it in my my little description there. Dylan Lawler, enough said. I've already kind of said about him, but screw it, I'm going to talk about him again because he's just that good. And I think if it, I don't understand how we've had this player for so long, and he hasn't even just been sprinkled in the squad now and then. And even for someone like Bullett's side, he would have been the perfect, centre back for Bullett. I know he would have been about only 17 then, turning 18. But you can't deny the kids got talent, and if they're good enough, they're old enough. I mean, you think of that 15-year-old kid from Liverpool on scoring on his debut or scoring on one of his early appearances, and it is crazy now. The kids are getting younger and younger that they've been able to play, and you have, I think, 15 is should be the absolute sort of youngest you could play because. I mean, if I'm being honest, I would have thought 18. But look, if he's good enough, he's good enough. He's old enough. So I think with Dylan Lawler, yes, you're a manager's minutes. And if I'm being honest, I'm sure that his agent's thrilled that he's getting to play for Wales. But at the same time, they're probably thinking, maybe focus on Cardiff first because, there should be other centre-backs in that squad who are, experienced, who are seasoned in a way a little bit, who should do a good enough job. Do I think Dylan Lawler is our best centre back at the moment in Wales? No, I think Davis is still just because of the experience and the age and that he's got under his belt. I think he's the best one. My head just really twitching. Chris Mepham, I think he's solid, but I don't rate him as much as Davis. I know Reece David Evans, if he's listening or not, he was so annoyed when he scored against us for Sheffield Wednesday against Sheffield United against us last season. I think that is that his like first career goal or something then. But no, I thought he did all right. And again, this is the thing, see, right? I don't think anyone played really poorly today. I just think some players just went missing. But yeah, it's so refreshing to have someone like Dylan Law in the squad. Do I think he's our best centre back at Cardiff? I still think Will Fish edges it just a bit right now. Pure again, I think that's just because of he's had a bit more playing time, and he's managed to iron out a few mistakes. But you cannot say that he doesn't deserve to be in the squad. And I'm so glad he has had the call up, because you see some of the passes he makes. He sometimes looks like he's holding the ball for a bit too long. Like he doesn't necessarily dribble with it, but he has his arms out in front of him, basically showing like who wants the ball. And almost always he'll pass it really strongly right down the middle. And it's just like refreshing to see, like, oh my God, you can actually pass the ball just like straight forward for once, instead of having to like pass it side to side. And again, there are times for that as well, but it's so nice to see that there's a defender there that is confident to play those passes, and that he knows that we have midfielders who are confident in receiving it on the half turn, or even with their back, facing the defender, or the other midfielders, let's say. Jonathan says, let's get a comment up a second. Capaccio and Colwell debut versus Canada. Possibly, yeah. I don't think Capaccio didn't get time. No, he didn't get time when he was originally called up. I think it'd be good to put those two as a pair together, because can you imagine, they already played with each other a lot, so they're going to be a great pair, a great duo to work off each other, and they're usually on the same side as well. And again, not to forget that Capaccio can play on the left as well, which is very interesting, very helpful. I think I just spent all this episode just kind of like gassing up all the Cardiff players and slitting everyone else. No, it's not that. I thought we could have, I think we could have changed it. I would have probably gone for the back, but I understand the reason we kind of went. I don't know what you call it, 3 or 5. It says that we played a 3-5-1-1, and it shows you as well. But it did feel quite defensive, didn't it? I'm good a bit like I think Di Brooks looked all right. I think we can say all now in hindsight we could have started these players and not these. But before the game, we don't know anything, do we? And we just kind of go with that squad, and we kind of think, oh, okay, well, if we win, we win. In terms of their players, like I said before, they only had 2 real threats. I thought that their counter-attack in the first half was very worrying for them, because they couldn't seem to almost string 2-3 passes together, at least not in the final third. But in the second half, that seemed to change. I think their pressing really helped them, because it meant obviously they didn't have as far to go to score a chance. I think they did draw quite a few fouls from that as well. I just realised now that so Nico Williams did actually receive a card, yeah, but that was the only player. Like the ref didn't really give out many cards that match. I mean, there's 1 or 2 times where I think the Kazakstanian, I'm not sure if that's right, one of their players had just kicked the ball away after the ref blew the whistle, but he still didn't give them a card. So I don't know. I thought that was a rule where if they kick the ball away intentionally, they get a card. But hey, that's just maybe me then. I mean, I'm not going to bother pronouncing other names again. Sorry, but no, I think Kairov on the right hand side, I thought was quite quick. He's quite a lanky sort of tall guy, but he didn't. I didn't really see much from them to be like, oh, I'm really scared. But if I'm being honest, they have put quite a fight up against some other teams as well. I don't know if it was against Belgium. I think they got smashed 4-0 or something. I can't remember now. But they are a better team than what I've seen before. So I believe we've got Canada next. I want to see, right, if anyone's can be bothered to put their predictions in of who they would put their starting 11. I'll give you mine in just a second. But let's see now. Oh, and whilst I'm thinking about that as well, big announcement. I'm not sure if it's already been said, but we have officially, let me just check. we have officially hit 2,000 subscribers on the Cardiff City World channel, which is absolute madness to think that when I joined, I think we had about like 1,200, and we've gained like another 800 subs since. And to think that I'm actually part of this channel now by sheer chance of just asking Matt one evening, saying, "Oh, you're right. If I come on just to have a chat, like, I'd love to sort of come on and make a guest appearance if that's all right with you." And it was the Oxford game. I think we lost, and he was more than he was more than happy to let me on. And he actually asked if anyone else wanted to come on, but no one come back. So it was just me. And before long, I was making appearance after appearance, becoming a regular. And now I've got my own Terrace take show, which is insane to think. Albeit I'm trying my best, because I got to be honest, I don't really have a massive deal to talk about in this one. I think there'd be more in the Canada game to talk about. I feel like it'd be a bit more exciting and a bit more open-ended, because it's not a team we play like every single year. I don't understand this this format of how you play the cup qualifiers. It seems to me we always end up playing Belgium, Kazakhstan, Liechtenstein, Slovakia. Who else is it? Like North Macedonia. It's like these 5 or 6 teams, and we're always playing them. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I want to play France all the time, because that wouldn't exactly go well. But it's just, it seems like there's all the teams we could be playing, and we're just playing these 5, 6 same teams. I just don't like how the format is, I guess. But there we are. So let's just go to ATEC again. I always thought Nico was going to break through and play as a winger. He's got pace, talent, and an eye for goal. Feel at times he's wasted the back, even how great he is, but he is rapid. Yeah, see, I was thinking that when he was playing for Liverpool, and before they released him, I think, this kid's got like a lot of this kid's got a lot of pace, got a lot of agility and quickness about him. And usually what you find happen is if they're too good when they're attacking, they're no longer a fullback. They end up playing just winger. I don't think I would rather him be as a wing back or like a left back, because or right back, whatever he plays really, because he's kind of sort of back and forth, and he's just got so much youth right now. I feel like you keep him playing at fullback, because I think one of the important things you can do is the overlap in fullbacks, and it was popularized a lot by Liverpool years ago now. Christ, back with the Salah, Firmino, and Mane sort of combo, and you always had those like attacking overlapping wing backs, and I'm sure other clubs did it before them. But yeah, it's just like it's just so good at that, and he's got such a curl on that cross as well. I just feel like he is better off at fullback. Whilst I do agree with you, ATEC, that he seems like he's wasted a little bit, because you look at the guy and you think he doesn't really look that stocky at all. He doesn't look that big, that he's like gonna hustle and grind whatever for the ball. But he does, and to be fair to him, he is defensively solid. Again, there's probably better options, but then they haven't got the pace that he's got. And it's just, and again, he whips in a really good cross. He reminds me a bit of Louis Giles in a way. I mean, I think Louis Giles is a bit behind in that sense, obviously. But with him, he's a similar kind of profile of like, you don't look at him and think, oh, he's a good defender as such. You see him as like this really pacey player, or at least got a decent amount of pace to beat his man and to whip in a really good cross because of the curl they got. And my God, for the amount of crosses we put in today, it was so frustrating to see the overhitting of crosses a lot. Again, I hate being sort of negative. I know we won, but I just feel like we should have smashed these a lot more, or at least won by 2 goals clear. Belgium, we play a lot. Yeah, we do play Belgium a lot, it seems like. I'm not against them, because it feels like they're the one of the only, well-known teams, or, well-built teams. And I was so frustrated after the game we lost them. I think it was 4-3. To come back, sorry, I'm trying to get through this. To come back from like 3 goals down, or however much it was, and to lose, then I mean, what else can you do at that point? I felt like that was a really good game. Obviously, didn't start that way, but to show that we can come back from stuff like that, I felt like that's what we were missing. We were missing that kind of fire up our backside, just to sort of like push us more. I didn't feel, it's almost like it wasn't much incentive to play this game. That's how I felt about it. But don't replay England before Belgium. I'm not sure if you say don't we play England before Belgium. I'm not sure. That'll be a game I love to watch though if that is the case. Again, I want to. I just realized I was looking at like the under 17s international friendlies. No wonder I couldn't find the fixtures. Let's have a look. I'll make sure the men's team. There we go. Okay, so we've got these are all just the cup qualifying rounds. So on the 13th of October, we've got Belgium home. That'll be a good match. That'll be absolutely packed, I reckon. Liechtenstein away we got. And then also the 15th of November. Excuse me. And then the 18th of November, we're home to North Macedonia. So, two winnable games I see. I think North Macedonia put a good fight. I think we drew against them. But that's you got two definitely winnable games, and then being at home against Belgium, you think you'll give them a good go. I don't think the scoreline will be as crazy as it was last time. I hope not, unless it means that we're gonna bag 6 past them. Oh god, I don't see that happening though. But yeah, so roll on to our next game, Canada. Let's hope. I'm gonna give my predictions now, or let's say what I would do. I would go. Do I go back 3 or back 4? I think it would be silly to sort of at home. No, to be fair, at home, if we were at home, or it could be away, I'm not sure. Either way, I think you keep the back 3 as it is: Lawler, Davis, and Mepham, or Mepham, however you say it. Instead of Saul Thomas, I would actually have Capaccio on the right midfielder because he can play wing back. Then on the left, I would stick with Nico Williams. Then I would go Jordan James, Joel Colwell, and Harry Wilson. It's quite an engine house we got over there. Oh, would I go Di Brooks though? Because he usually quite good. He impressed me. Yeah, go on then. So I'll go up front then. I'll go Kiefer Moore, Di Brooks, and then Dan James. You know what? I feel I'm going to switch it up a lot because I think that when Dan James come on, he just had a lot of pace. Can you imagine Dan James and Ronan Capaccio on the same side? That's deadly, honestly. And I'm not saying other players are slow because you look at Joel Colwell, he can run for days. And to have him next to someone like Jordan James, they're two like proper powerhouse box-to-box midfielders. I know Jordan James can play in the number 6, and I feel like he's more that than Colwell. I feel like he's just got a bit more strength and brutality about him. But I would love to see Joel Cole alongside Jordan James as two like proper number 8s. That'll be exciting to see. And then you have Harry Wilson to kind of balance that attacking threat then with the defensive cover. And then yeah, Kiefer Moore, Dan James, and Di Brooks. I don't think I've ever seen a game with that front 3. At least not yet, because at least always one of them's been injured. That's why, right? That's who I'd go. But get your comments down after this video as well, so it stays up as well who you put for your next game. And yeah, hopefully be a good test. I'm going to end it here, lads, but thank you very much for tuning in as well and for getting your comments in. Guys, if you want to become a member, QR code is here, and across the screen you can see as well the instructions for that. However, thank you very much, and I'll see you all soon.
For your Caesar, Cardiff City, ride with me for your Caesar.